Yeah, kind of. I was trying to check something out. All right, Shalom. We the Brothers of Great Mills Home, the church here in Birmingham, Alabama. And as always, want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to our teachers, the head apostles and elders of Great Mills Home. Shalom, you brothers out there laboring in his work. And as always, the believers, Akim, as well as the Aqua, those of you who subscribe to this truth as well. So you'll be back once again through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Shah. And as always, you know, we come in the spirit of prophecy as commanded by our Lord Yahweh Shah, being the time that we in. You know, this is the time where the things that was written and foretold to come to pass are now amongst us, all right? And pretty much at the forefront of this is a transition of power. And we can't stress that, you know, emphasize that enough, because this is a very monumental time where, you know, the oppression, you know, the afflictions, you know, enduring suffering at the hand of our enemies, so-called white man, has now come to an end, man. This is a very beautiful time, you know? And being that this is prophecy, which by the way, this prophecy that we're gonna go into is centered around Genesis, the 25th chapter. Now that in itself, if you're not rooted and grounded, then that in itself is gonna, you know, gonna throw you off. Because one might say, well, hold up. How can you go into prophecy based upon the book of Genesis? You know, isn't Genesis the beginning of the book? Which, by the way, you know, when you consider the curriculum of Esau, let's say whether it's your history book, social studies, or math, science book, right? Always, what's the easiest chapter? The first chapter. You know, when you go into all those different sources, usually the easiest chapter is the first chapter. And a lot of people apply that with the Bible, man. They feel, oh, that's just the book of Genesis. You know, that's just the beginning. That's the opening second. But you're going to find out, besides the book of Revelation, the book of Genesis is a very intricate book, man. You know? And there's a lot of prophecy found within the book of Genesis. Matter of fact, real quick, unless anybody got something?
I got something.
You got something? Go ahead and give me Isaiah, the 46th chapter. You probably already got that.
Yeah, Kai.
You got it.
This is Isaiah 46 and 10, declaring the end from the beginning.
Read that again.
Declaring the end from the beginning.
See, declaring the end, which obviously that's the time we're in. So the scriptures say the Lord is declaring the end from where?
The beginning.
See, from the beginning. So you can go to the beginning of this text and you can read about things concerning the end. And through the spirit of power, Yahweh Shema Shah, we're going to go into that. So go ahead, I'll read it again in its entirety.
It says, declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure.
Yep. So the Lord have declared the time that we're in now from the beginning, man. You know, that's a part of the counsel of Yahweh Shema Shah. which is presented before you in the form of prophecy. And what we found out, you know, through the spirit of power, Yahweh Shem Shah, which serves as somewhat of a comfort to us, is the reason why this devil had this perpetual hatred for you. The reason why he was chasing you down, hanging you, castrating you, man. You know, this man would cut off your extremities, you know, and that's well documented in the spectacular lynching of Claude Neal. Like, this man would feed your children and alligators. And even to this very day, he'll go above and beyond the call of duty to keep you in further derision, to keep you further oppressed. See, we found out the reason why. We know now, we can go to the humble beginnings, if you will, to why this is the case. All right? And that's what we're going to do in this lesson. You know, and through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shah, you know, we're going to bring forth information that can be filtered through the Holy Scriptures. Once again, proving that what we subscribe to, all right, the teachings of our Lord Yahweh Shah found within the Holy Scriptures is very powerful, you know? So, yeah, unless you got anything, let's go to Genesis, the 25th chapter. Let's go to the humble beginnings.
God, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 25, and I start at verse 21. It says, and Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife had conceived, and the children struggled together within her.
Yeah, so there's a whole lot. Emotions run wild. I know me personally, just listening to you read that, a whole lot of stuff come to mind. First and foremost, Isaac. Mm-hmm. You know, he entreated the Lord, and the Lord answered him. Like, okay, the Lord gave him what he desired. Right? You know, that's your Yahweh Shah if you can receive it. But it goes on into how his wife, she pretty much conceived. And these two children, they struggled. Let's read this again.
It says, and the children struggled together within her.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord.
Yep. And she went to inquire of the Lord by way of the proper order. Okay. But right there, you see, well, these two children are struggling in the womb. And it was very emphatic, so much so that she had to inquire of the Lord about this. Hey, just imagine, you know, Rebecca with these children in the womb. Hey, they was going at it, man. They was probably knocking her around the room, you know. So she had to inquire, why am I thus? Now, before we get into that, let's look up that word struggle.
All right, so this is that word struggle. Strong's H7533. And it reads, to crush, oppress.
Oh. Now you see where that makes sense? When concerning the dynamic between the so-called white man and you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, what's the one key word that you could plaster? Let's say if we had a picture of slavery, a picture of Esau telling you get to the back of the bus, a picture of Esau or a visual of Esau telling you can't drink out the same water fountain. You know what word you'll put right there? Oppression. So, hey, that's what this is what the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter, is going into, man. We're now going into the humble beginnings of why Esau dealt with you so treacherously, man. It starts right here in the womb of Rebecca. Read that one more time, huh?
It says to crush, oppress.
Oppress. Now, real quick, let's go into that word oppress.
All right, this is that word oppress. Just a Google definition. It's like it. That word oppress, and it reads, keep someone in subservience and hardship.
And hardship. Oh, see? It's not the so-called white man making a conscious effort to keep you in hardship, to keep you subservient unto him or under him. You damn right. Go ahead, Doc.
It says, especially by the unjust exercise of authority.
Oh, so that's where power comes in. So that's why we know the kingdom of heaven will be set up in effort for us to get justice on Esau. Because we can't get Esau now. Why? Because we don't have authority. We don't have power. So what the so-called white man did with his power, the first time he got power in his hand, what he did? He oppressed you. Oh, okay, the brother, all right, the brother said Salakia. Oh, DMX apparently is not dead. Okay. Hey, so hey, the saga continues, man. Hey, but guess what? When it happens, if you die within the next 48 hours, we're gonna repeat those same steps. You know, we're gonna. So whether now or later. But that's the spirit of the brother was just talking about that. You know, I don't know what Esau up to, man. That really Esau scrambling, shit ain't coming together. Because now we getting the momentum. And you consider a struggle, and especially in a movie, right? The bad guy, he get on top of the good guy, then the good guy roll over on top of him. But right now, Esau, he have us in subjection. But eventually we're gonna get him. You got it out?
The word struggle, just a simple Google definition.
I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just on my end, but I barely can hear you. I don't know if you brothers can hear him, but it might just be me.
His end too.
Can you hear me?
It's a little better.
Yeah, it sounds a little clearer. You might want to come up closer on the mic.
Okay, kind. Yeah, simple Google definition of struggle. It says make forceful or violent efforts to get free of restraint or construction.
Woo! That's bad. So that struggle in the womb really goes into slavery. Because when you constrain someone, you hold them against their will, man. See that? Go ahead, Doc.
It says strive to achieve or attain something in the face of difficulty or resistance.
Hey, so it's a flip side of it. You know, as this man struggles to oppress us, we're struggling to resist that oppression. We want to be free from that oppression. Okay? So when you read Genesis, the 25th chapter, which that's what we're going into, which again is prophecy, and I got to say it again, if you're not rooted and grounded in Yahweh Shai, you're going to be thrown off by that, man. But we read in the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter, prophecy, where pretty much this struggle in the womb is being played out, is being manifested betwixt this dynamic between the so-called white man and the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American. Okay? So we could go back. You had anybody else got anything before we continue?
That was it.
Yep, so we could go back to that definition. And I want you to go down to the similar words for that word oppression as well.
I'm gonna get the example sentence real quick for this word, and it reads: a system that oppressed working people.
Come on, man. Isaiah the 14th chapter, he that smote the nations with a continual stroke. The very overtone of being oppressed is based upon a system, because you have regulations, you have restrictions, you know, set up in play to keep you at bay. Well, guess what? That's going to happen in the kingdom of heaven as well, man. And guess what? Esau is going to be struggling to get away from that oppression.
Yeah.
You know? Hey, that's why that rod of iron going to come into play. Don't think Esau is rebellious. You're going to see that rebellious more than ever when there's laws set up against, you know, this nigga, he rebellious against his own laws. So imagine when the kingdom of heaven is set up, you're going to have Esau resisting, man. And it tells you that in the parable of Lazarus the rich man. Lord willing, we can go into that. Well, the rich man, he was even resisting Abraham. Abraham told him, look, you had it good in your time. He said, nope. If you he was resisting it then, man. So you're going to have Esau that's going to resist that restraint as well. Again, that's the idea of struggling. When you go into Genesis, the 25th chapter, where they struggled in the womb, you have one party restraining another. If you wrestling with somebody, you restrain him within that struggle. See? So right now, Esau got the upper hand. But now we slowly, coming out of that lock. And we get ready to corral him, man. Oh, the Lord said he will eventually give us the necks of our enemies. That's another thing. When you watch those movies where they struggle, when you got him, man, you see the scene where he gets you by the neck. So yeah, let's go back. All right.
God, yeah.
Salaki, you got it.
Deuteronomy 30:7. It says, "And the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee."
Yep, you got it out.
This is the beginning right now. What we saying, it's the beginning stages of the Most High taking the curses off us, and the same curses that we've been plagued with in a low condition. He putting them on Esau. Now, the fulfillment of that is going to be what in the kingdom. When you read what Lamentation the fourth chapter, and the 21st verse, if I'm not mistaken, when it says your matter of fact, it's the last verse in the chapter when it says your iniquity has been accomplished. Right, but when it talks about it's going to go on Esau, Edom, that's in the kingdom. That's the fulfillment of that. Why? Because they're going to fully drink of this cup, man. Matter of fact, they're going to drink of it double. The scripture said, "Give unto her double." All right, so that's going to be fulfilled. Deuteronomy 30:7 is beginning right now, but it's going to be fully fulfilled in the kingdom because you're going to be on the bottom. You're going to be in chains, but it's going to be double what's going on to us. But go ahead, you got it out.
Is it? Yep, you got it out.
Come back in the similar words, it reads to persecute, abuse.
This all falls under the banner of oppression, which goes back to the word struggle. Genesis, the 25th chapter, concerning that struggle in the womb, has everything to do with oppressing and crushing one another, right, which we went into that word. Okay, so here, this word oppression, persecute. How ironic. How ironic at the end of this thing, the so-called white man, and that's written. This is how the so-called white man will eventually come up against us, man. Through his draconian laws. Yeah, go ahead.
It says, treat harshly, tyrannize, to crush.
Yep.
It says to enslave.
Oh, to enslave. See, so when you go back to Genesis, the 25th chapter, let's read that again.
Come back, Genesis chapter 25 and verse 22. And the children struggled together within her.
Right, so we just went into the in-depth, we just took an in-depth look into this word struggle. It actually leads you back to the word enslave, man. See that? And that's why that's the very essence, if you will, concerning the relationship between the so-called white man and the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American. If you know nothing else about that relationship, you know that one people had the other in slavery. So that proved that this book right here pretty much spoke of these things, man. And again, how do you enslave somebody? By having authority, power over that particular person. And in this case, nation. So what you think the power of the Lord is going to give us? Just to do magic tricks, man? Hey, you got guys out there that don't understand the core reasoning behind the Lord giving us power. It's to recompense our enemies, man. So you got to get rid of that Christianity BS mentality, man. Hey, because even Yahweh Shai said the day of vengeance burning his heart, man. So our power is going to be solidified by us being on top of Esau's ass. So that's how you enslave a people, by having power over them. And once you have power over them, you're going to have them subdued if that ever is a struggle. Okay? Come on, give me what you got. I know it's like you got something.
Isaiah.
So like,
okay, go ahead.
You got it out.
Hey, go ahead and get you on, Barak.
All right. God, this is 2 Samuel 22 and 41. Thou hast also given me the necks of my enemies.
Oh. Read that again, Doc. Read
It
it nice
says
and slow.
this 2 Samuel 22:41. Thou hast also given me the necks of my enemies.
Right. So imagine a struggle. You struggling with someone, but then you get his neck. He can't live. Oh, you know, that's why the guy said, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. The big nigga out of New York. Hey, to breathe is to have. If someone cuts off your breath, that means you suppress, man. So the Lord is going to give us access to the cutting off of life for you. If I got your neck, that means I got the power to cut off life. And that's what we're going to do in the kingdom. It tells you how those who don't serve us, we're going to cut their water off. We're going to withhold rain from them.
Damn. That's the real
That's
war.
having the necks of your enemies, man.
That's it.
Yeah. Come on up.
It said, thou hast also given me the necks of my enemies that I might destroy them that hate me.
Yeah. Go ahead. You got it up. It's locked.
So yeah, he said we're gonna destroy those that hate us, man, which is our arch enemy Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. You know, and the scripture also says, give me anything but the pretty much the affliction of them that hate me. Well, that's just not dealing with Esau. That's on all levels. Cause this nigga he'll rather have the Moabites beat his ass than us, you know. But same thing how the Lord gave us over to this devil is gonna be vice versa, you know.
Right.
And that's gonna be one hell of a period of time for Esau, Edom, man, so-called white man.
Like you
Yeah, that's a
said,
good point. Matter of fact, can you get that? Give me any womb. Because that's the justice that we're going to receive. We're going to actually get our lick back. And Christianity teach you to don't worry about that. You know? Just let bygones be about the good who came up against us, man. Okay? That's what you call justice. You got it up.
Which you want, that Sirach 25? Which you have wanted out?
Salaki, yeah, I had a delay on my end. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, Con. So yeah, you can get that. Give me in the womb before we go back.
Oh yeah, Con. This is Sirach 25. I start at verse 13. Said, give me any plague, but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness, but the wickedness of a woman, and any affliction, but the affliction from them that hate me.
See, hey, you can bear with someone afflicting you for survival. Let's say if you're in a fight with someone and for survival's sake they inflict you. Hey, you can bear with that. But just your enemy, you know, inflicting harm against you, man. That's a brutal blow. And we're gonna get into that. Keep that word brutal in mind too, man. Go ahead, Doc.
It says, and any affliction, but the affliction from them that hate me, and any revenge, but the revenge of enemies.
Yeah. But the revenge of enemies. And Salakia, through the Spirit, Yahweh Shai spoke about that. Yahweh Shai spoke about how the time that we would go into, you know, post 70 AD, which was really a fulfillment of Genesis, the 27th chapter. The days of mourning after my father, then I would slay my brother Jacob. Well, pretty much the Lord warned us of that. He said that those would be the days of vengeance. Because see, when you go into the history, we actually had Esau subdued, you know, under King David, King Solomon. But that man broke the yoke, right? And that's also in Genesis 27 chapter. He eventually broke out of the yoke and he broke out of that chokehold. You know, that's that struggle. And then he subdued. Now we're in the time when he has subdued us. Okay? But you can see the momentum shifting. The tide is turning. This man is becoming feeble and becoming weak. And the children of Israel, starting with the elect, is now being strengthened. You got something else up?
This is Jeremiah chapter 22 and verse 13. Woe unto him that buildeth his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong, that uses his neighbor's service without wages, and giveth him not for his work.
Yeah, who could you put a picture of right there? Esau. You could put a picture of the so-called white man right next to that precept, man. He's guilty of those offenses. See that? And again, through the Spirit, we're going to bring out information that pretty much co-signs that idea, man. All right? You got something else up before we go back?
No, that was it.
All right, so we can go back. Unless you had something, Rock.
No, I ain't had none.
Yep. So let's get it.
Back to Genesis 25 and verse 22, it says, "And the children struggled together within her, and she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord."
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord said,
So now we see what that struggle, right? We know what that struggle is going into. We looked up that word struggle. It means to oppress, to crush. And when you go deep into that word oppress, it takes you back. It literally takes you back to the word enslave. See that? So now we have a better understanding of what Genesis, the 25th chapter, is going into, man. That's biblical prophecy, man. Right? And we read Isaiah the 46th chapter, where the Lord declared these things that's unfolding in the end from the very beginning. So again, that gives credence to the idea of prophecy even being found in the book of Genesis. So before you go, you got anything out? Okay, so now this. Salaki, go ahead.
You got it.
Okay, so now let's go into this information. Let's go into Wikipedia, and we'll build around that.
All right, so this is from Wikipedia, and it reads, Black genocide. And it says, in the U.S., Black genocide is the characterization that the mistreatment of African Americans by both the United States government and
the United States government is another word for Mount Seir. Okay?
Yeah.
Because when you go into that word government, it means mind control. That word govern means control, and ment goes back to the word mental or mind state. So to control one's mind, how do you do that? Through a system. Oh, and that was one of the words for oppression. Hey, which also, just by a show of hands, what's the word system? What it also goes into?
Pit.
System. Let's say out.
Pit.
That's it, pit. And a pit is what? A pit is a jail cell, man. See, we just gonna simplify it for you. That's a pit. Okay, so this system was set up to keep you in derision, to keep you oppressed. See that?
Yep.
Hey, real quick, I got that word genocide out before you continue, because it say Black genocide, which, by the way, we don't promote that idea of black. You got two simple niggas with turbans on your head who have immortalized the word black, man. And they're playing into the hands of Esau. Hey, you know what, man? Hey, in the spirit, that's why the Lord said judgment gonna begin. Because these, man, there's nothing worse than a nigga in fringes in a Hebrew land. Yep, go ahead, Doc. Oh, so like, this on me. Let me get this real quick. This is the definition for genocide, right? It says systematic, they got the word system, which goes back to the pit, man. Matter of fact, give me that out real quick in the blue letter, Isaiah the 51st chapter, and give me that word pit. And it looked like, hey, don't tell her how long we might be going, bro. Because we ain't even scratched the surface yet. Hey, the rabbit hole goes deep when concerning Esau and his oppression. This nigga get a kick out of oppressing you, man. Mm-hmm. But we found out it all goes back to biblical prophecy. So real quick, it says genocide, systematic killing of a racial or cultural group. Come on, man. It says deliberate extermination of a racial or cultural group. Great purge. See that? So, hey, that's bad. I got it from some AP World History. And it's levels. You can go into genocide in the 20th century and, so on and so forth. But you get the gist of, okay, and that's the spirit. Now the brother came back and said DMX is not history. So now, hey, you want it now or later?
Yeah, that's it.
You want it now or later, baby?
That's it.
And I'm gonna say this too, right? It's not like we got that person against DMX, man. He a fellow Israelite, you know?
That's right.
But at the end of the day, he contributed, you know? He contributed to the furthering of the derision of Israel, man.
Yeah.
Yep, so come on. Let's get that what you got real quick in Isaiah 51 and then we'll go back.
This is the book of Isaiah 51:14. The captive exile hasteneth that he may be loose and that he should not die in the pit.
Yeah, if you struggling with someone, right? And this motherfucker trying to kill you, you hastening to be loosed. Everything, your energy, all your strength and energy should be dedicated to you being loosed. So that's the overwhelming feeling of being under Esau. You just feel the spirit of being bound in restraint and restrained. All right, but the scripture said we hasten to be loose from the pit. Let's go into that word pit.
So this is that word pit. Strong's 8:7-8:45, and it reads pit, destruction, grave, pit for catching lions.
What?
Pit for catching lions.
Pit for catching lions. And that's dealing with Israel, the head tribe being Judah, which is actually compared to a lion. That's in the book of Genesis. Is that the 49th chapter? Where the scripture says Judas is a crouching lion. See? So America, in this system, which that word system goes back to pit, it was set up to keep you in derision, to snare you. There's all type of pitfalls and traps throughout Babylon that was set up to trap Israel. Okay, so we could go back unless you got anything up. Okay, come on, let's go back.
Come back, Genesis 25 and verse 23. It says, and the Lord said unto her.
Yeah, so back to the Wikipedia.
Oh, Slacky. I'm tripping, Slacky. Yep. This back Wikipedia it reads, in the U.S., black genocide is the characterization is that the mistreatment of African Americans by both the U.S. government.
Hey, can I say something? Like Esau ass, even when they telling you the truth, they lying. Fuck us, man. That's why he got African American there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So right then, even if he give you that information, it's not gonna benefit you because you really just think you're African American. But see, we here as the alternative media telling you that the U.S. government, which you can put Mount Seir right there for that word, is suppressing not the African Americans but the Hebrew Israelites, man. A storm with the tribe of Judah. Go ahead.
Hey, the scripture said we ain't ignorant of Satan's devices.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You got it up.
It says in the U.S., black genocide is the characterization that the mistreatment of the Israelites by both Mount Seir and the Edomites.
Now that's how you should read it. That's how you should read it. Because that's the truth of the matter.
Right.
Okay? It's Mount Seir that's oppressing the children of Israel right here in this time. So come on, go ahead, read it again from the top.
It said in the U.S., black genocide is the characterization that the mistreatment of African Americans by both the U.S. government and white Americans, both in the past and the present.
Both in the past and the present. That sounds like Ezekiel the 35th chapter. That perpetual hatred, that duration of time. Now, real quick, when you go into matter of fact, give me that real quick. Go to Ezekiel 35th chapter and look up that word perpetual. Baba Kasha. You got something up?
No, just going back to what you said, that perpetual hatred, that lets you know that the spirit of the serpent rested upon Cain, and that same spirit came back in Esau, and you got to know that our forefather is what? Is Jacob, which later on his name was changed to Israel. So they got to let you know the seed line, because the same incidents that was going on from the beginning is still going on right now. Romans 15:4, things that was written aforetime was written for our learning. So, but that's only through the idol, but go ahead, Art. So, hey, they always had a perpetual hatred, man. That's that everlasting hatred we're all finna go into.
Yep. And it says from the past. So this is not a new idea. Just because George Floyd got choked out. No, this goes all the way back. This is the same story. This is the same struggle. Okay, go ahead, Art.
This is like Ezekiel 35 and verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. All right, so this is that word perpetual.
Yeah.
Oh, slack.
Read it again, Art.
Oh, slack. This is the book of Ezekiel 35 and verse 5. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword.
I was just saying, hey, that's a good point. It ain't about this current action that just took place on a national scale for us, the knee on the neck. That go all the way back. This is nothing new. It's a perpetual hatred. Perpetual meaning everlasting. Nothing that's brand new. A hatred of old. Go ahead, Art.
It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword.
Just because you see what happened in a modern sense, that's nothing new. That's been taking place from the beginning. Go ahead.
In the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end.
Yeah, because the Most High put the spirit upon this devil to forward our afflictions. All right, even though the Most High is justified in doing what he doing, but still Esau is going to be held accountable. That don't mean Esau Edom hands is clean. See what I'm saying? So just because, and see, that's the deceiver and the deceived being in the hand of the Most High being omnipotent, because he made this devil go off, but he still ain't gonna say, well, you know what, I made you go off. I'm gonna wink at that. Hell no, you forward the affliction of the apple of his eye, man. That lets you know how much the Most High hate this devil, man. Made this devil go off so it can be justified when he kill his ass. Go ahead, Art.
Hey, can I say too, hey, that's just like the movie director don't have to explain the Cain.
Right, exactly.
You ain't got to explain the Cain when they got killed. I made you stomp that guy out. I made you stomp the guy out who asked you which one of y'all's Cain. Just so he can come back and kill you.
Yeah.
That's what y'all outside did.
Damn, man.
Hey, we're gonna go into that. You got it out, but I want Art to get that word perpetual too.
God, this is that word perpetual. Strong's H 5769. And it reads long duration. Forever.
Damn.
Everlasting. Evermore. It says ancient,
Woo.
continuous existence.
Yep.
You
That's
got
it.
it.
Hey, ancient. Okay, you got something else up?
God, this is going back to Genesis 32 and verse 6. And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, we came to thy brother Esau, and also he coming to meet thee with 400 men with him. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks and the herds and the camels into 2 bands, and said, if Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape.
See that?
Yep.
So
You
it's the thing.
want to add to that up?
Yeah,
You got it. Rock.
so this is in old times, ancient days when Esau met us with 400 men, right? Now, this is future prophecy because it's going to be left 2 lots. They're going to come again to us, you see? And they're going to strike and smite the ones that's of the 2/3. And the rest is going to escape by the way of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Lord will endure to that day. But this is that old ancient hatred, man. That's been down from Genesis 32. We can read this in Revelation as well, man.
Right.
You got it.
That's bad.
Right.
And it tells you that also in Wisdom of Solomon, the 10th chapter, how the righteous fled from his brother's wrath. That goes all the way back. That story is still being played out. So, like the brother said, the brother just went to the book of Genesis, man. Which, when you go into that word Genesis, it goes back to the root of something, the origin, or the beginning. So going into the book of Genesis, that's somewhat like of a genealogy. That's where you go back to the very beginning. Yep. So yep, you got it up.
We're gonna go back to that.
Go back to that article. Mm-hmm.
All right.
What's like it? I mean, when you go back into the history, it's information through the Spirit. We're going to bring out information. Matter of fact, go ahead and bring it out.
Talking about
Y'all, what's up? Give what you got.
This is from
it's to the register, because you know what? Because before you go further, read that again. Read that definition. It's like that article, that last part again.
Oh, God. All right. Back it says in the U.S., black genocide is the characterization that the mistreatment of African Americans by both the U.S. government and white Americans, both in the past and the present.
Oh, the past and the present. So now, and let's say before we got to that point, that was a way that maybe Esau could have got out of this. But then we went to where it says the past and the present. And that's why the Spirit had us begin in the book of Genesis. That's how you get to the bottom of it. You ever notice, like, if you have a cartel or a certain organization, you might have a feds or someone looking to take down an organization, well, they got to get to the source.
Uh-huh. Hey, I'll just froze up.
Yep, so like, is my good now?
Yeah, come.
You good now?
Yeah, so like I was saying, the moral of the story is you want to get to the source of the problem. Okay? So that's why the Spirit is on us to go to the humble beginnings. Right? So that's why even in the definition in the Wikipedia, it says past and present. See that? So that's why Esau is not off the hook, man. And we're going to show you that, right? Go ahead, you got it.
Yeah, this is an article off history.com. It says
Salaki, I can't hear you on my end. Can y'all hear up? I can
It's like it go in and out. You know what I mean? It's like real
in and out, maybe. You can come up.
I'm coming up. All right. Little Willie, you hear me? This is an article on history. It says that there's evidence that British colonists in 18th century America gave Native Americans smallpox infected blankets at least once, but did it work? It says North American colonists' warfare against Native Americans often was horrifyingly brutal.
Hold up. It says brutal. Can somebody look up that word brutal?
I got that on.
And then I want you to go into what you got. Go ahead.
That word brutal, just a Google definition, and it reads savagely violent. In some of the similar words, it says bloodthirsty.
Yep, bloodthirsty. That's Ezekiel the 35th chapter. Since thou hast not hated blood, since you devils have had an infinity for blood, then guess what? The Lord is going to deal with you. Oh, okay, Salakia, can y'all hear us out there? The brother said he messing with the line. Maybe that was a delay back from then, but just give us a thumbs up if everything's smooth. Okay, everything seemed to be good. It might have been on your end. Yep, go ahead.
It says bloodthirsty, murderous, wicked.
Remember, these are the words for brutal. Yep, the damn bloody beast. Go ahead.
It says cold-blooded.
That's a sign of a serpent.
That's it.
Right? Hey, I'm gonna tell you, man, this truth is beautiful, man.
Yeah.
All right, the Lord opening you up and giving you understanding concerning your circumstance, life and existence itself. We able to get to the bottom of things now, man. And the Lord made it perfectly clear. Cold-blooded. That's cold-blooded.
God, it says merciless.
That's the so-called white man. And we're going to show you that. We're going to bring out a little information, that should get you fired up in the spirit. Go ahead, Al.
Heinous, atrocious, vile. It says brutish, beastly.
That's it.
Yeah, because you can't talk down a beast coming after you. You can't talk him down. He's driven by that lust for blood, for your blood. Okay? So now,
brute beast.
Yep, brute beast. So since we went into that word brutal, real quick, let's get what you got, and then we'll go back to Yahweh. All
right, Con. This is 15 brutal ways conquistadors killed Native people.
And who is the conquistadors, man? That's just a fancy, polished up way of Esau. Yep, go ahead.
It says, I just read the intro. It says Spanish conquistadors fought and explored their way through the Americas in the 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries. In their wake, they left destroyed empires and millions of lives lost.
Yeah, so, okay, with that said, when you go into biblical prophecy, that will have everything to do with the Edomites, who was given the blessing of the sword, man. And pursuing to Revelation the 6th chapter, it tells you how this man would take peace from the earth. So, for all of you out there like Vocab Malone, that clown, let's say this guy, right? And among others, if they do dive into that subject, they'll say the Edomites was done away with. But they won't give you no dates. They won't give you no times, no names. They just say, nope, they was done away with. Well, according to biblical prophecy, and those of you who have the power to extrapolate, you'll say, well, hold up. If the scriptures say that that would be a people who would be given a sword, then you have these motherfuckers to come around and leave nothing but blood and carnage in the wake, and they pursuit the power. Then obviously, from their work so long, they would have to be the Edomites, man.
Right.
So the brother finna go into 15 brutal ways. What else do you want, man? And that's like being in court, which court is in session, and we bring up 15, forms of evidence against you, man. 15. You got a fingerprint here. You left a glove there. You left your DNA on a cup over here. You left your shirt with your name tag in it. You had your name in the motherfucker. So out of all this evidence, then certainly this man is guilty. All right, come on, Al.
It says, but beyond the pure number of people slain, what is most disturbing are the horrific ways conquistadors murdered the native population.
Well, hold up. We just read that. We just read that in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 25th chapter, around the 13th verse. Give me any wound but the wound of the enemy. Because you could put somebody to death, but why have to be so graphic? Why have to be so creative? You are hanging natives up. I don't know if they're going to go into that in the information you got, but they'll hang the natives up and they'll kindle a fire at their feet, man. Or they'll have the dogs to rip open the bellies of pregnant so-called native women. That is a hatred that you can't frame. That's a hatred that's not of this realm. That's a spiritual hatred. And the only way you can make sense of that is through the understanding of the scriptures. Okay? You got something y'all was talking before we go back?
No. You got it.
All right, come on, Al.
All right, I'm gonna jump down. Is on the first one, it says they vowed to spare an Inca ruler for converting to Christianity, then ended him anyway.
Well, look, Christianity kills, literally. Hey, why Cam Malone don't speak about that, man? Hey, because under the banner of Christianity, they actually rape women. When you go back to that time, they murdered the men and they raped and savagely ravished our women. Okay? Go ahead, Al.
They try to make it seem, they try to make it seem right for the master to beat the shit out of the slave using Christianity, using the Bible.
Yep.
Knowing that they can play on the spiritual psyche of a beaten down people, being the devil that they are. You got it.
Yep.
It says in 1533, Spanish conquistador Francisco Pizarro captured the Inca leader Atahualpa. In order to save his own life, Atahualpa promised him to fill a 24-foot long, 18-foot wide, and 8-foot tall room full of gold, and then double that amount in silver. Pizarro quickly accepted the deal. But as the riches were slowly delivered to the
give me Psalm the 50th. Psalm the 50th chapter. Is that it? Oh no, Salaki. No, you don't know Salaki.
55. Yeah, I know.
55. Then also give me Isaiah 24:5. I want to say. Y'all was something you can get that. Go ahead,
Al. This is the book of Psalms 51. I mean, it's like a 55, and I start at verse 20. It says, "He had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him."
Right, and we read information concerning that. When you have Pizarro, this devil, he stretched out his hand against our people, man. You came to our land, or we were settling at, should I say? We didn't pop up where you was at. You came over here, so certainly you stretched out your hand. When you stretch out your hand, that means you extend out to me. So you stretched out your hand against such that was at peace with you, man. When you devils came over here to North, Central, and South America, you didn't receive any resistance. Furthermore, when you go into the memoirs of Christopher Columbus, he spoke about how the natives, the only weapons they had was spears made of bamboo, man. And they had damn iron swords, you know? So you knew right then you weren't going to receive a resistance, you know? But as it were, you stretched out your hand against those who was at peace with you, because the natives nourished you devils back to health, you know, from that rigorous voyage. All right, go ahead, Up.
It says he have broken his covenant.
Oh, you have what?
Broken his covenant.
You have broken his covenant. What else you want? We reading right there. We going into history, and it's going into the fact that you had this conquistador, this Edomite, that made an agreement. And by the way, he was about to get his devil, man, a damn mansion full of gold, and he was going to double it with silver, man.
Hey.
And he broke that covenant, man. Hey, that's Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, where he's not satisfied.
Right.
Fucking devil, man. What you think we gonna do to you in the kingdom, man, when we given authority, man? And we have all our sound senses. We gonna remember who you is too, man. We gonna fuck that devil up. All right, go ahead, huh?
It says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart.
How ironic. That's the same word that was used in the information, man. So this man made an agreement, but, all right, matter of fact, go ahead and finish that off.
It says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords.
Yet were they drawn swords. All right. So yeah, come on, give me what you got real quick. We're gonna go back to that article.
This is Isaiah 24 and verse 5. It says, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant.
Yep. So it's a part of Esau, it's a part of his makeup, is in his very DNA, is woven within him to not honor any covenant. Because that's the hey, if you get that, that's the signs of a criminal, a thief, and a murderer. Okay? So it all goes back to the so-called white man. So you got it, up.
Back in the article, it reads, but as the riches were slowly delivered over the next 2 months, the Spanish conquistadors grew paranoid that it was a trick. So Pizarro sentenced Atahualpa to be burned alive.
Damn.
It says, but Atahualpa knew Pizarro would never burn a Christian, so he converted. This worked, and the conquistadors goaded him instead. I mean, it's like it garroted him instead.
Yeah, see that? Oh, so them devils, and they lust the blood, they end up hanging them anyway. See, go ahead.
All right, let me jump down. It says, they fed native people to dogs.
Yeah, so this is also one of the offenses of the so-called white man. Okay? And for all you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans out there who are not willing to digest the idea of having enemies, okay, then all you have to do is research. And the scriptures tell you to research concerning the devil. That's in Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, where it says he will be unto you as looking into a wiping glass. And you will see that his rust has not altogether been wiped away. So you ought to examine this devil. Assess him, man. Scrutinize him. And you come to the conclusion that that's the same old devil. That's your enemy. That's your natural born enemy. And that's Genesis, the 25th chapter. Really, that phrase goes back to Genesis, the 25th chapter. Natural born enemies. Okay? Should have been the title. Yeah, go ahead, up.
It says the Spaniards trained their fierce dogs to attack, kill, and tear in pieces the natives. It says the Spaniards keep alive their dogs' appetite for humans in this way. It says they have natives brought to them in chains, then unleash the dogs.
Well, hold up. Is that love? All right? or is that a way of an enemy? You bring someone in chains, they can't even fight, and you unleash savage dogs on them, man. Everybody gonna pay. The dogs gonna pay. They might be back too. Oh, the scriptures tell you that the Lord should destroy and cut off man and beast from Babylon, man. All right, yep, go ahead, up.
God, it says the natives come meekly down the roads and are killed. And the Spaniards have butcher shops where the corpses of natives are hung up on display. And someone would come in.
Hold up.
God, that's,
you dealing with a sicko, man.
Right, exactly.
Hey, that's the same one that hang a goddamn deer head in his cabin.
Yeah.
See that?
Now we know where it come from.
Now we see that this is the ways, is a part of his makeup. He's the bloody man. Yeah, you want to add on to that?
Yeah, what is that? Woe unto the bloody man? What is that?
Nahum?
Nahum.
Is that it? No, that bloody city.
Bloody city. Yeah.
full of lies around.
That's Esau Edom, man. You know, like I said, that's a sicko, man. You know, you hanging memorabilia up on the wall of your past kill, and see, you know, it's one thing to kill an animal for food and clothing, but to kill it for gain, you know, to kill it for fun, you know, you that's that man that can't be satisfied with blood, man.
Woo.
Mm.
It's just like we were saying, that same blood is going to pursue him. That's why Esau Edom got so much that's why Esau Edom got so much blood shed to pay, man. You know, he got so much blood to pay with, man. I mean, his blood got to be shed. Cause think about that, man. Come on, man. An innocent animal, man, helping the ecosystem going, and you just killing it for fun. Go ahead, you got it out.
Hey, I got a quick precept, just real quick. It's Psalms 59 and 2. A matter of fact, you know what? Matter of fact, I started verse 1. It says, to the chief musician, Al-Tasif, Mitchum of David, when Saul sent, they watched the house to kill him. It says, deliver me from mine enemies. See, there go again, enemies.
God.
It says, O my power, Salakia, defend me from them that rise up against me. And again, it talks about how that past, the article we read, this hatred is from the past, Ezekiel 35th chapter, that long duration.
Right.
See? So this is not the only time this devil rolls up against us right now. He always rolls up against us. See? This is the point. It says, deliver me from the workers of iniquity and save me from bloody men.
Beautiful. And that's it. So, hey, we got that same prayer, man. We got that. We meditate upon the same thing, and it's a form of us crying out to the Lord to save us in that time from that bloody man, which is the wicked elites, man. Starting with them, man. You know, Esau, Edom as a whole, the whole race, the whole body of the wicked, the whole race of the so-called modern-day white race, which is the modern-day Edomites. They're the wicked as a whole, but that wickedness stems from the head. It all comes from the head. So that's that bloody man, man. And that's our prayer in these times. Because they got a taste for Israelite blood mainly, man. You know how you got a taste for a certain, you know, type of meal or whatever. You could just taste it, your taste bud taste it. That's how Esau is, man. Salivating over fucking Israelite blood, man. These devils. You got it out.
Yep, that's that predator and prey dynamic.
Right.
You have a certain predator, his taste is for a certain animal, you know?
That's beautiful.
So Esau gets off on the blood of Israel.
Beautiful.
All right, you got it up.
I got a precept real quick.
Come.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 140 and verse 1. Deliver me, O Lord, from the evil man.
Beautiful.
Preserve me from the violent man.
See that? From the evil man. That's Esau. So-called white man. From the violent man. And we're going into detail right now. We're going into the history. We're going into information that supports this claim. Okay, before we go further, you had something up?
This is Amos chapter 1 and 11. Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Shah, for 3 transgressions of evil, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever.
Yep. So he killed his brother, and he showed no mercy, man. You know. So everything we're going into, pretty much the information you can go into history. It's in the history books. Which, by the way, you got these devils trying to take this information out of history books. You notice that, right?
Right.
Goddamn devil. You know what that's equivalent to? You know what that's equivalent to? A damn criminal wiping away the fingerprint. Fucking devil. But guess what? We got you, man. We got you on audio. We got you on video. We got records. We got your fingerprints all over the place. All right, so come on, let's go back.
Back in the article, it reads, they have natives brought to them in chains, and this is under the banner of they was feeding the natives to the dogs. So it says they have brought natives to chain. They have brought natives in chains, then unleash the dogs. The natives come meekly down the roads and are killed. It says, and the Spaniards have butcher shops where the corpses of natives are hung up on display. It says, and someone will come in and say, more or less, give me a quarter of that rascal hanging there to feed my dogs until I can kill another one for them.
We giving you vivid illustration of how Esau dealt with us, man. So when we bring forth the idea of us beating the shit out of them in the kingdom, that's justified, man. All right, here it is. They got the corpse of the nation. You came over here, man. You came over here, infringed on our land, all right, what the Lord allowed us to dwell. Right. And you butchered us, hung us up, and said, look, give me that rascal. Give me a portion of meat from that rascal so my dogs can eat. That's in history, man. Okay? Thus the title of this lesson, enemies. Who you think King David was crying out against? He wasn't crying out against some guy in the underworld with a damn pitchfork. His petition was against his enemies, because King David, being the king, he was also a prophet, man. And he prophesied. He saw this vision. He saw Esau dealing treacherously with us, man. Okay? So come on up.
I got something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's Sirach 25 and 14. It says, there is no head above the head of a serpent, and there is no wrath above the wrath of an enemy.
Right. So there's no head above the head of a serpent. Esau is that serpent, meaning he's in power, you know? So the buck stops with him, if you will. If you want to consider everything that's happening, the paper trail goes back to him. There's no head above the head of that serpent, but there's also no wrath above the wrath of an enemy, man. Because again, someone can inflict harm on you out of survival. You could be in a fight with someone and they might fight you off for survival. You can respect that. But someone that's stepping down on you, inflicting harm on you, putting you to death, like the brother said, pretty much for sport and for that lust of blood that they have for Israel, well, that's certainly your enemy, man. If not, then give me another definition. That we must have the wrong definition of what an enemy would be. Okay, come on, let's go back.
Back in the article, this is another category. It reads, they devised a way to hang natives and burn them alive simultaneously.
Yeah, and through the spirit I mentioned that. These motherfuckers were sitting back and came up with a way to hang you and burn you at the same time. That's your enemy right there. That's why the scriptures say this honor is given to the saints. We're going to have the honor of beating those same Edomites' ass in the kingdom, man. Yep, go ahead, Up.
Let's see. I got some real quick. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 41 and verse 7. It says, all that hate me whisper together against me.
Yeah. Motherfuckers, hey, they in the cut coming up with a elaborate way to hang you and burn you at the same time. But when you fast forward to now, you know, these devils with this whole rhetoric of the crown, 19, and making the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American the face of that war on that disease, if you will. That's another form of them whispering against us, man, in the cut. Yep, go ahead, Up.
It said, against me do they devise my hurt.
Yep, and devise, when you go into the word devise, it pretty much means plan. So they're planning your hurt. You know, Esau giving you, for an example, you know, these stimulus checks and so on and so forth. Man, that's a cunningly devised plan or plot for your hurt. Because ultimately they're looking to, if nothing else, crash the American dollar and match the reset button, which really goes back to, classifying you, having you in classes. You know, you a slave, I'm on top. That's why you see the so-called middle class being phased out, because they're trying to go back to that oasis of having you in oppression, man. Again, Esau gets off on that, man, of having you oppressed. That's why when we get the power over them devils, man, we're going to appreciate kicking their ass, man.
Right.
Yep. You have something you want to add?
You know, like you said, when Lord willing, we get our hands on them devils, man. Like you said, you're gonna appreciate it, because we gonna do what the scripture says. I got a real quick precept in Revelation 18. It says, Revelation 18:6. I'm gonna start at 5. It says, "For her sins have reached unto to heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you." So when we get our hands on these devils, all right, the Most High, we think we got an indignation. We think we got an anger against these devils. But when the Most High, through Yahushua, put the Spirit on us, when we get our hands on these devils, we gonna fulfill this. It says, "Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works." And that's, you know, the ones that work the works of this wicked place, man. Starting with these elites, man. You know, these little pipsqueaks, you know, behind the scenes, you know, running the set, you know, doing all type of mischief, controlling things, but this small, you know. It says, "In the cup which she have filled to her double," and that's ultimately, you know, slavery. All right, but that double is, you know, we went into slavery, and we went into slavery because we angered the Most High. But you're gonna go into slavery because you angered the Most High. And number two, to get destroyed. That's gonna be that double, because we coming up out of our slavery, but that double gonna be given unto you, and you know, and plus a whole other genre of thing, you know, for all the work that you've done. That's it on that.
Yep. All right. Yep, you got it, Salaki.
You got matter of fact, give me Malachi. Somebody get it real quick. Malachi 4 and Malachi 4 and 3. Yeah. Just going back to when we get our hands on these devils, they're gonna receive that double.
Yeah. This is Malachi chapter 4 and 3. "And ye shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet, and the day that I shall do this, saith the Lord of hosts."
Yeah, that's that mercy and marvelous grace and a hell of an experience that the Most High through Yahushua is going to give to the elect, man. It's to tread the wicked up under the soles of our feet as ashes, bringing that double unto them. Really, just, you know, meaning to get rid of them, man. In that day, that we gather them up in a big bonfire. You know, we're gonna that's Obadiah 18, right? We're gonna gather them up in a big bonfire, man, and get rid of them. That's that, you know, that also going into that double, man. You know, you got it.
Got something to back you up. Talk about that big bonfire. This is Ezekiel chapter 24 and verse 6. "Wherefore thus saith the Lord, Woe to the bloody city, to the pot whose scum is therein, and whose
Right.
scum is not gone out of it.
Right.
Bring, go ahead.
God, it said, woe to the bloody city. And we know what the city was raised upon blood, America. And that's mainly the blood of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which is innocent bloodshed. You know, the blood of the saints. Read it from the top up.
God, Ezekiel 24:6, wherefore thus saith the Lord power, woe to the bloody city.
Hey, and woe means what? Massive death and destruction. For what? For the bloodshed that it was built upon, which is innocent blood. You know, starting all the way back, that lets you know Esau, Edom is the wicked that the Bible speaks of, because it goes all the way back to who? To Cain and Abel. See that? That struggle go all the way down to the reincarnation, which they came back once again as Jacob and Esau. But that's that innocent bloodshed. That lets you know that he was a murderer from the beginning. That lets you know that same characteristics. There's got to be this devil, man. Go ahead.
That's it. It says, woe to the bloody city, to the pot whose scum is therein, and whose scum is not gone out of it.
God.
Bring it out piece by piece. Let no lot fall upon it. I'm going to jump to verse 9.
Hey, Salaki, can I say too, his scum, which is his works, is still here, man. This devil is the same devil that hung you, castrated you. That scum is still in the pot, man. It's still present amongst you. That perpetual hatred is still before you, man. See, and that goes back to Ecclesiasticus, the 12th chapter as well. You know, he will be unto you as you wipe the wiping glass, and you will see that his rust has not altogether been wiped away.
I got something real quick.
Uh-huh.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 30, and verse 12. There is a generation that are pure in their own eyes, and yet is not washed from their filthiness.
Yeah. Yeah, so Esau, hey, if you look up that word white, which they gave themselves that title, what was that in it happened, I believe, in Virginia.
1681.
Salaki, 16. In the 1600s. Yep. In Virginia. Was it Virginia?
Yeah, Virginia, 1681. Where the white came in the law. First time white persons ever came into the existence of law.
That's where you get that word white. And like if you watch the movie Malcolm X, that's the spirit. I've been talking about that movie. Because you know in that movie too, they show where them devils laid his daddy down on the train tracks or whatever. But in that movie, you remember the scene where they went into the library and they showed you the word white, the definition of the word white, and they said the word means pure. See? That's why what the brother just read, there's a generation that's pure in their own eyes. Yet, they filth hasn't even been washed away from the things they did in their past. Read that again. You know how the Lord going to wash that filth away? Through the lake of fire.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
God, this is Proverbs 30 and 12. It says, there is a generation that are pure in their own eyes, and yet is not washed from their filthiness.
Yep, so they go back to Esau. All right. So, yep, you had something up before we go back?
Yeah, I had one more just to back Quantum Waff up about that Obadiah 18 verse. Ezekiel 24:9, and it says, therefore, thus saith the Lord power, woe to the bloody city. I will even make the pile for a great fire. Like it for a fire great.
God.
Yeah, you got it.
And that's referring to the end of Babylon. So you got it up.
Yep, so let's go back.
All right, Con, this is back in the article, it reads, they devised a way to hang natives and burn them alive simultaneously. It says the conquistadors often devise ways to make the demise of natives as elaborate and painful as possible.
Well, hold up. That's the scripture. Give me any wound which brings pain. Give me any wound but the wound of an enemy, man. Or any wrath. See, that proves right there that the so-called white man is our enemy from his works alone. The hell with this nigga trying to explain to me why he's not my enemy. You know, these devils always got a case for why they're not your enemy. Then a lot of time being no honor amongst thieves, they snitch on each other. No, it was my niggas snitch on their own dad. And he said, no, it was my forefathers. But look, none of that applies over here because why? We are judging you according to your works, man.
That's it.
And what we found out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah, you are your forefathers, man. Yep, you got it up.
Kind of continuing on, it says they built a long gibbet low enough for the toes to touch the ground and prevent strangling, and hang 13 natives as a time in honor to honor the Lord and the 12 apostles.
That's crazy. Hey, Esau is crazy, man. Sick and deranged. He was doing it under the banner of Christianity. So hold up, you got this nigga vocab Malone. He like to look into the history, like to question, the validity of REI and our teachers, But why won't you go and dive into that history? That was they was claiming your set.
Right.
They was actually claiming Christianity, man. That goes to show you that Esau is our natural born enemy, man. There's nothing you could do to rehabilitate that hatred, that spiritual hatred, which that hatred is not of this realm, that perpetual long duration, that everlasting hatred that the so-called white man have for you. There's nothing you can do to quell that. It was all written in the story, man. See? Go ahead, Al.
It says, then once the natives was near their end, straw was wrapped around their torn bodies and they were burned alive.
Yeah.
All right, this is another category. It reads, they took the lives of newborn babies.
Right, so Esau is guilty of that. Again, court is in session, man. For all of you out there who resist, the overwhelming spirit of the Lord, man, in relation to bringing up charges on Esau. Well, here it is. We producing evidence, man, that justifies, and then we don't have to go back that far. You can just go back to last week. You just look up some shit. You look up a Jake that got sentenced to jail time or something. You'll see right there Esau displaying his hatred for you. See? Go ahead, Al.
It says the conquistadors brutally wasn't limited to native soldiers or even adults. It says they snatched young babies from their mother's breast.
Yeah, come on, man. Imagine that. Let's take a walk. Let's walk with me, man. Take a walk. Let's look back in the retrospect. Imagine you having soldiers, in a village. They subdue the men. They have the women. You got the children over there. And one of the soldiers come take a baby from the arms of his mother, right? With intention to do harm to the baby. What would you classify that person to you? That would be your enemy, man. See, go ahead, Al. Let's find out what they did with the baby once they got him out of their arm.
He said, and then dash out the brains of those innocent against the rocks.
Now, are not we gonna pay them back? Why did that happen? And why you have? Well, let's go there. Man. Again, what you people gonna find out is this is the most powerful book on the planet Earth, and it's a reason why these things was written. Go ahead and give me what you got, Al.
This is Baruch chapter 4, verse 15.
So like that, you know what I want, Al?
Yeah, this is the book of Psalms 137 and 7.
I've been holding that.
Yeah.
It says, remember, O Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, the children of Edom.
Yeah, so that's going to be twofold. That's heavy because the children is you after you, but we're going to know what baby that is. We're going to say, hey, that's Pasario. When you see that little baby come out, we're going to actually remember your children. We're going to remember you. Oh, that's you. So just like you dashed our babies to storms, what we gonna do?
Same thing. It says, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof, O daughter of Babylon. who ought to be destroyed. Happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones.
So hold up. Somebody might hear us read that and say, hold up, that's not right. That's not fair. Well, let's go into history. Read that again. Let's go into the history.
It says they snatched young babies from the mother's breast and then dashed out the brains of those innocents against the rocks.
So that's why the scriptures have what's written and what is written, man, and how it's written, and who it's written to, and who it's written for. Because Esau, the so-called white man, served us like that. They actually dashed our babies. They bashed our babies, man. Imagine your baby, a little infant. Motherfucker take your baby and crash his brain up against a stone, man. That's the reality of an enemy. See? Go ahead. That was it on that?
Con.
All right, go ahead and get what you got up.
This is Exodus chapter 17 and verse 14.
I can't hear you. I come up a little closer, Salaki.
This is Exodus chapter 17 and verse 14. And the Lord said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua. For I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven.
Yep. And Amalek, that goes back to the head tribe of Esau, man. And the Lord is going to remember all those works. See, you got Jake out there that they want us to just forget about it. Whether it's due to their status in this society, you know, everything's going well for them. It's not in their best interest for them to come up against their master. But the Lord himself is stirring up our pure minds by way of this remembrance. And that's what you're witnessing now. This is a form of the Lord jogging your memory. We're going into detail what these devils did to us. So go ahead,
Jump down, it reads, they use natives to test the strength of their blades.
And so that was also in the memoirs of Christopher Columbus. They use, you have target practice. Well, these devils use the natives from little babies up to test their blade. They're going to go into it. Go ahead, up.
It says captured natives were sometimes butchered by conquistadors to test the quality of their swords as well as their own strength. It says they would even place bets on slicing off the heads or cutting off of or cutting of bodies in half with one blow.
Yeah. So that's what Esau, the so-called white man, he performed those acts on us, man. And I know I was reading somewhere where which is is well documented, where they had the quotas, where if you didn't pick enough, or Salakia, if you didn't find enough gold, right, then they'll hack off a limb. They'll hack off their lips, hack off their nose. Yep, come on up. Just imagine a little one, man. A little girl, a little boy, in their early teens, post-teens, 7, 8 years old, get their damn nose hacked off, man. But that is what Esau is guilty of, man. And this is what contributes to why we call you an enemy, man. And you don't have to be all in depth and that's going to be an indictment against a lot of you people out there, a lot of you Israelites. Because even if you're not tapped into the spirit of the Bible, well, if you came across this information, then that alone, should justify our cry against Esau. But we know one of the main stumbling blocks is reincarnation. That's why you have a lot of people say, well, that was the past. Right. Go ahead,
Khan.
Oh, you had some out?
Yeah, Khan. Somebody get real quick. What Ox said, that's the past. Isaiah 14. You know what I want to bring out, Perpetual slaughter.
Yep.
I got some real quick while you get it. It's in the same chapter, Isaiah 14 and verse 2. It says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for the servants and handmaids. All right, and that's that payback, like I was going into, the same things that you have done to us. We sit here reading all of the cruel, beastly type things that you're doing to human beings. Then you know that you ain't a human being, Esau. You can sit here and conjure up all type of foul shit to do to an innocent people that's helping you. So that's gonna come on you double. I'm gonna read it again. Isaiah 14:2, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And that's in Israel. It says, and they shall take them captives whose captives they were. All right, and that's letting you know that this is not a world friendly doctrine. This ain't teaching love. When they miscrew, turn the other cheek, let them slap you on the other. I mean, you know how Christianity do it. Mix the scriptures up and fool our people, having our people thinking one way. No, it's going to be a payback, man. The same thing Esau has done to our people. What we read about right now is going to be double unto him. All right, so. You guys want to add on that up?
Oh, no, you got it out.
It says, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So who oppressing us now? The main, you know what I'm saying? The main oppressor is Esau. All right, so Esau can't even say, look, that was my forefathers who did this and who did that. No, like Art says, the such thing as reincarnation. You got it up. Isaiah 14.
Yep, this Isaiah 14:21. Prepare slaughter for his children.
See that? Prepare slaughter for his children. Go ahead.
For the iniquity of their fathers.
See that? So in reality, according to the scriptures, which is the truth of the matter, they are their fathers coming back to fulfill their lot. And it's evident. These same little young Edomites, like I was saying, these same little young Edomites that be staring you down, and them same Edomites who put you to death, man. And they coming back just in time to get their judgment, man. The indignation of the Lord for the things that they done, man. Putting you to death, shedding that innocent blood. These ones, man, and seeing these wicked elites know this. But it's Jake so simple, they believe everything what this system tell them, and this system tell them that, there's no such thing. That's a myth. That's some cartoon shit, or that's some sci-fi shit. That's what they put out there. But Esau, the elites of Esau, they know this. That's why they teach their sons. Go ahead,
It says, I will prepare slaughter for the children, for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers.
Yeah, for the sin upon sin of their father, transgression upon transgression of their fathers, because that sin upon sin is them killing you in the past, starting with their forefather, and they coming back and killing you again, having them same wicked thoughts against you. And real Edomite ain't gonna change. So that's sin upon sin. So there's no coming up out of that. Go ahead. So they're coming back to fulfill their lot right now. Go ahead, Al.
It says that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities.
Yeah, the Malachi 4:1 says that fire is not going to leave them neither root nor branch. Meaning it ain't going to be a seed or a speck of that counsel, which is Esau left. They're going to get cut off forever. No, I think in this same chapter speaks about no nephew, no son, none of that. Uh-huh. So that's no root or no branch. You got it out. That's it on that.
That was it.
Gone. You got it out.
Yep, we can go back. We can go back then.
All right, cut. It says, all right, let me jump down. It says, Slakia. It says, let me jump down a little bit more.
That was something you had no precept, did?
Yeah, I got a precept. This is Ezekiel 18:18. As for his father, because he cruelly oppressed, spoiled his brother by violence, and did that which is not good among his people, lo, even he shall die in his iniquity.
That's it. That same sin upon sin. You reap what you sow. See that? Matter of fact, real quick, Colossians 3:25, it says, but he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he hath done, and there is no respect of person. So that's just bagging up what the brother just read. Same thing that Esau have done. That same blood that he shed, that's that same blood that he gonna choke on, man. All this, he gonna. Matter of fact, once again, it's gonna be double. But go ahead, out back to the article.
And real quick, just to add to what y'all going into.
Okay, come.
That's gonna actually be individually as well. You got to remember, the Lord is perfect, man. Meaning the very ones that had a hand in dealing with you. Let's say your damn slave owner, some damn slave on a plantation. He had a certain Jake hung and whipped and cash paid. He gonna pay for that, man, because he might have died, in his past life, and it seemed as if it was no justice. Guess what? The very one. That's why the scripture says in Colossians the 3rd chapter, he that done wrong shall receive of the wrong that he done, man. And that's why we read in Ezekiel the 18th chapter that the father who committed those acts is gonna pay. It's not gonna be the son paying for the works of the father. Okay, so that shows you how about Shemi Awashai and his perfection, is far beyond the comprehension and reasoning and rationality of people, man. His ways are perfect. No one gets away, no one escapes. So if you committed crimes in the past, in no wise will somehow you escape. You're going to be brought back here on the scene of the crime to receive that judgment. Matter of fact, get Psalms the 6th chapter and the 10th verse real quick before we go back to that.
This the book of Psalms, chapter 6 and verse 10. Let all my enemies be ashamed.
Let all my what?
Enemies.
All my enemies. And again, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, whether you like it or not, you're gonna come to grips with the idea of having enemies. Because the Lord gonna have it with Esau gonna rise up against you again, man. His countenance is gonna change. Pursuant to Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. This man is gonna show his horns. Okay? But again, the scriptures refer to these devils as our enemies. Go ahead, read it again.
It says, let all my enemies be ashamed and sore vexed. Let them return and be ashamed suddenly.
Yeah, what does the scripture mean when it says let them return? That goes into reincarnation, man. So the Lord brought these same devils that you see walking around carelessly, shopping with a goddamn Starbucks cup or some crazy shit. They was brought back on the scene of the crime to receive their judgment, man. That's why Isaiah the 14th chapter said, raise up his children for the iniquity of their fathers. Meaning they're here to pay for the things that they committed in their past life. All right, so come on.
I got something real quick.
All right, come.
This 1 Kings 21 and 29. Seest thou Ahab humble himself before me? Because he humbled himself before me, I would not bring evils in his days, but in his son's days will I bring the evil upon his house.
There you have it. So the Lord says he's going to visit him not then, but in his son's days. If you have eyes to see, that means when he come back in reincarnation.
Whoa. God.
Okay, so now let's go back. Hey, and that's a part of the good news. We know that Pizarro or none of these damn conquistadors is going to get away. They're going to come back and we're going to fuck them up in the kingdom of heaven, man. Go ahead, Okay, I can barely hear you though.
Yeah, precept for you real quick. This is Rock, chapter 16 and 11. And if there be one stiff neck among the people, it is marvel if he escape unpunished.
Woo!
For mercy and wrath are with him. He is mighty to forgive and to pour out displeasure.
Come on, man. If there's one stiff-necked person that get away, you should marvel at that. So, hey, not one of you devils is going to get away, man. Neither will you be able to quiet the grumblers, if you will. Give us some damn, what would you call it, retributions? That's an insult, man. Mm-hmm. The only way we're going to make things right is we're going to shed your blood. All right, so come on up.
Con, all right, back in the article, it reads, they forced natives into slavery and worked them until they perished.
Well, hold up. Why is that? Because we just read what we opened up in Genesis, the 25th chapter. That struggle in the womb, when you go into that word struggle, it translates to oppression. Now, when you go into that word oppression, where did it take us back to? Enslaved. So even if you're not quick, and sound in judgment, at least the fact that we was under captivity to this devil, some should ring a bell with you, man. See, to us, this makes all the sense in the world. Okay? All right, go ahead.
It says the Spanish would treat the captive native abhorrently, driving them day and night with beatings, kicks, lashes, and blows.
Yeah, driving them day and night, not giving them rest. Give me Isaiah the 14th chapter.
Oh, that continuous screw.
Yeah, they was driving them day and night. They didn't give them no rest. They was beating them and they was whipping them, man, and dealing treacherously with them. So again, how would you frame that type of person? What tag would you give him? The only word you could come up with is enemy. Yeah, go ahead.
Isaiah 14:6. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke.
Oh, with a continual stroke. So that's what we read right there in the article, man. Yep, let's go back to that info.
It says the Spanish would treat the captive.
Oh, Salaki, you can finish that off. Salaki, okay. I forgot you had a little more on that.
It says Isaiah 14:6. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hindereth.
Yeah. So see, the so-called white man actually smoked someone with a continuous stroke, or should we say that wicked right here that we read about in Isaiah the 14th chapter. Well, we able to go into history and line it all up. Oh, it's this guy. It was this guy who acted out what the script said. See, so let's go back to that info.
It says the Spanish will entreat the captive native population abhorrently, driving them day and night with beatings, kicks, lashes, and blows. They even created a group to specifically hunt down anyone that tried to escape.
Well, do not that sound familiar? Did not that happen with the so-called Negroes? The scriptures say that Judah and Israel will be oppressed together. But who is the coming figure in both of the stories? Esau, man. Mm-hmm. It's the so-called white man that's oppressing both of us. That's what we have in common. Oh, you know what we have in common? One common enemy.
Right.
See it.
Which is the so-called white man. Okay, so you got more on that?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump down. There's another one. I just get this. Look, it says they mutilated.
I'm gonna say this through the spirit. If you can put the link out there, probably. Because I believe you looked up. It's a whole lot we didn't even touch on.
Yeah, I skipped some.
We didn't even touch on a lot of this, and that in itself is overwhelming. the little stuff that we touched on, man. So Esau gonna pay, man. Go ahead,
It says they mutilated their faces. It says the conquistadors were known to mutilate the natives, often for no reason and with no provocation.
Well, hold up. We know why. Because it was of that perpetual hatred that they had for the children of Israel, man. See? Go ahead.
It says a Spanish priest quoted, with my own eyes, I saw Spaniards cut off the nose, hands, and ears of the natives, male and female, without provocation, merely because it pleased them to do it.
Yep, because of that lust of blood. You know? So now, before we close up, let's bring out, you got anything else you want to bring out? You got some info you want to get out, right?
We can go on that. That's enough information there. Unless you want me to go ahead and get it.
Yeah. Okay. You touched on the smallpox.
Yeah, the smallpox blankets. Yeah, that the British natives. Yeah,
Hey, which that's all in history. That's all documented in history. Mm-hmm. See. So, that's pretty much it. You know what? Real quick, let's end off right here. This will be fitting. Ezekiel, the 25th chapter.
God.
In the 14th verse. Let's end off right there. So, hey, the reason why we have to go into these things is because, for one, you have to keep your edge. The scriptures tell us to not become conformed to this world, man.
Right.
See, by becoming conformed to this world, you pretty much side with Esau. You'll develop a certain sympathy for this nigga, man. That's why you have, what's the phrase, Stockholm syndrome.
Hey, you take it right out of my mouth, huh?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, over a period of time, that's what's gonna happen. When you start forgetting about what the Most High will never do. The scripture said the Most High requires the past, right? So once Esau gets you buttered up in that delusion juice, you know what I mean? You get to, like you said, getting comfortable, man. Then you start forgetting or start getting very, very faint over a course of time. This is my enemy. The concept of this being your enemy get farther and farther away from your consciousness. You know what I mean? And you start getting comfortable. But like you say, you need somebody to put that joke on you, bring you back to life. Like, hey, this is your enemy. Don't forget that. You got it up.
Yep, you start thinking of all this shit, man, fuck that motherfucker. That nigga played me. That's how it is with this devil, man. The spirit is on us to continue to remind you of the works of the so-called white man, his ill dealings, treacherous acts, crimes, and atrocities committed against the children of Israel. Again, that keeps you with that edge, All right, so come on, let's end off right there, huh?
God, the book of Ezekiel, chapter 25 and 14. It says, and I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel.
Look up that word vengeance real quick. The Lord said he would lay his vengeance upon Edom by the hand of his people Israel. What story can only make sense of that? The history that we're going into now. The so-called white man hanging you, castrating you, mutilating your face, as we just brought out, taking your infants and crushing them against the stone. Them the only people that line up with what we just read, man. But the Lord said he would bring his vengeance upon Edom at the hand of his people, man, Israel. So if you got that definition, let's go there and we'll go back to that verse.
All right, so this is the vengeance, Strong's H 5360, and it reads, vengeance. It says vengeance. It says revenge, avenge, to avengement, whether the act or the passion. I might have to get it just a regular Google definition.
I got something.
Hey, but that gave you a little too. That word avenge,
It says vengeance, just a regular Google, punishment inflicted or retribution exacted for an injury or wrong.
Yep, and that injury goes back to Lazarus and the rich man. What Lazarus laid at the gates of the rich man, and he was inflicted with sores. Well, part of those sores is slavery. That's a part of the injuries. You was injured. The reason why you can't grow your own food, right? Because you injured. You were suffering from a wound that was giving you back then. Yep, go ahead. You got more?
And it says vengeance. It says retributive justice, retaliation, eye for eye, two for two, tit for tat, measure for measure, blow for blow.
That's cold. That's cold. Yeah, we want our lick back. We want our lick back, and Yahweh Shema is going to allow that once we're given power over this devil. So come on, let's go ahead and end off right there.
God, Ezekiel 25:14, and I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel. And they shall do in Edom according to mine anger and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, said the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai.
Yep. Hey, so there you have it. All right. So with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakudash. Double honors to our teachers, the head apostles and elders, great millstone. Shalom, you brothers out there laboring in his work. And as always, you believe it's the Akim, it's the Aqua. Those of you who subscribe to this truth as well. Till the next time, Shalom.
Shalom. DTA.
Soon.
So I thought it's still.
So that's 72, baby. Hey, we getting close too, man.
Mm-hmm.
These days, the sunrise and the sunset.